It's now my pleasure to introduce John P. Melville, Commissioner of the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, for our opening remarks.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. What a beautiful fall day. Honored family members, Lieutenant Governor Hochul, elected officials, colleagues, friends, firefighters, past and present. It is indeed a high honor for me to speak to you today. But quite frankly, a spot I would never have imagined myself in. You see, prior to holding my present position, I spent 32 years as a proud trooper in the New York State Police. Now everyone is somewhat familiar with the friendly rivalry that exists between cops and firefighters. If you're not, let me tell you, there certainly is one. For the most part, the rivalry is in good fun and is fueled by a feeling of mutual respect between proud professions. If there can be some type of competition between the two services, there usually is. I can remember years ago participating in a tug of war at a local county fair, the trooper barracks versus the volunteer firefighting company. It was, as most are, a charity event, but with all the trash talking and good-natured ribbing, you would have thought it was the Super Bowl. Although my memory is a little foggy from those days, for the record, I think we lost. Last week, I found myself commuting back and forth to Albany, wondering what a former trooper could say or should say to the firefighting community and their families on such a solemn and important occasion. As I traveled up and down the Thruway, I couldn't help but think of the many exposures to firefighters' efforts that I've witnessed during the time I spent in the trenches. Like the time I found myself a rookie trooper, alone on a dark country road, coming out on the losing end of a wrestling match with a drunk driver I had been trying to arrest. Thankfully, I was assisted by an off-duty volunteer firefighter who happened to be driving by and stopped and put himself in the middle of our fight. It was then that I first realized volunteer firefighters are never really off-duty. Or the time I was the first car responding on a busy interstate highway at the scene of a horrific multiple-car truck crash where children were crying, people were dying, and I was trying to control the chaos. Before I realized it, seemingly out of nowhere, a cavalry of firefighters appeared to assist, take charge, and help take control. I remember thinking that night, thank God for the cavalry. Or the time I was assigned a missing special needs child investigation and attempting to organize a search party on very short notice. Hundreds of firefighters donated their Sunday to help in the search, which was not only heartwarming, but led to finding the young girl alive and well. To finally watching and working with very brave and stoic firefighters from the FDNY, from all over the New York State firefighting community, and from firefighters around the country for that matter, at ground zero in the hours, the days, and the months following the terrorist attacks of 9/11. As they worked on the pile initially in a very dangerous rescue effort, which sadly soon transformed into a heartbreaking and somber recovery mission. As I drove up and down the thruway, I realized there was no more need to wonder what to say. I think thank you does it just fine. This memorial not only recognizes and honors those firefighters who have given their lives in the performance of their duties, but also recognizes all of our firefighters who answer the call to duty every day, knowing all too well the risks and the realities of their profession. It honors all those firefighters who leave their families or the warmth and comfort of their bed to respond in the cold, dark night to a call from help from a stranger. Today, we offer a small yet permanent gesture in honor of 8 heroic firefighters' sacrifices. A name on this wall, certainly little consolation to families, colleagues, and loved ones, but an everlasting inspiration and reminder of their service and sacrifice to us all. Certainly, not everyone has what it takes to be a firefighter. Everyone can, however, be ever so grateful that there are those who choose to serve, and ever so indebted to the 8 men we honor today and to their families who they have left behind. Thank you. It is my distinct pleasure to now introduce our next speaker, our Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Melville, for those touching words that reflect upon your own personal experiences in law enforcement, and thank you for your service to our state and to your communities. Also, we're joined by many elected officials here today who also believe, as I do, we have a solemn obligation to show up here, not just every year on this date, but as frequently as we can, to come and reflect quietly in front of this wall, a reminder that the sacrifice that we honor today goes on 365 days a year. Today is really about the families. I took a few moments before we came out here today to offer my condolences, but I realized in seeing the emotions on their faces, the wives, the mothers, granddaughters, grandsons, sons and daughters, words just don't do it. I just want to give you all a hug and say, our hearts break. Our hearts break over the loss you've had to endure, because you, more than any of us, have sacrificed throughout your lives because you fell in love with or gave birth to or the brother or sister of someone who answered the call to service that all of us should hear, but so few have the courage to answer. You're the ones whose dinners were disrupted, often on holidays, the ones who had to go to your daughter's softball game alone, or watch your grandson, the grandfather have to get up from the grandson's football game and say, I can't stay, the call is there. You sacrifice more than any of us. And all I can do on behalf of our governor is to open our hearts today and say, we are so grateful. And the courage that it took for you to get out of your beds this morning and to be here as these wounds were reopened, I just commend you. But each of you told me it is an honor to be here, because on this wall, your loved one's name will be enshrined forever. A tribute, a testament, a statement of what we are as New Yorkers, because it's a statement of our priorities. When someone needs help in our state, we respond. There's 115,000 people who are firefighters, answering 1.3 million calls a year. How is that even possible? How is that possible? That, I tell you, is a lot of disrupted lives. That's a lot of sacrifice from the people sitting here and the countless others that they represent. And what can we do about it? Thank you doesn't seem to do it. It does not seem to convey what we must convey. All I can do is say, in your loved ones' names, I hope that we inspire the next generation of people who look at what they did and said, my community is worth fighting for. My community is worth protecting. When a house starts on fire, there's a car crash on the road, and people need help. I am here to serve. And that's the role model that your loved one gave to all of us. Not just within your family, but within the family of New Yorkers. So their names on this wall do mean something. They mean something profound. They represent sacrifice. And it's not just the community events. It is the man-made catastrophic events that no one in their wildest imagination could ever dream of, a 9/11 incidents. They're the catastrophic events levied on all of us by Mother Nature. Hurricane Sandy, Hurricane Irene. Look how many people gave up weeks and weeks of their days and lives to be out there to rescue people and save lives. They did this while a lot of other people slept soundly in bed. Please know that we do not take 1 minute of that time and sacrifice for granted. All of you who are still in the active service, who are probably wearing the uniforms today, and when you go back to your fire halls and your companies, please tell them what we said here in our state's capital. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate what you've done. Wear those uniforms with pride. And I know there's a tight family of firefighters all across this state. For many years, I was a local elected official. One of my honors was to install firefighters at installation dinners. For a while, they had me as the MC, but I don't think they thought my jokes were very funny, so I just got invited just to the dinners. That's okay. But I was there, and I saw the friendly bantering, the brotherhood, the sisterhood. They really are another family. But at the end of the day, when the joking's done, we all go home. I'm in my bed safe. They're waiting for the next call. They're willing to step up and leave the security of their homes and save us, protect us, ensure that good night's sleep that we all rest under. So I just want to mention the names of the people that are my heroes. My heroes. Tim Gunther, who's known for his keen wit and his sincere empathy. What a legacy to have people say that about you. That's beautiful. Joseph Sanford, I think they call him Junior. He had an infectious smile, and he loved the brotherhood of the fire company. Matt Ambulis, who people still talk about the boy he saved in a burning home in Williamsburg. Freddie Edwards, who came from a family of firefighters, a tradition instilled in him from his family. Kevin Bristol, who's so proud of his grandsons, the joy he had with Owen and Alex, coaching them as well. Ross Hupper had said that it was in his blood to help his fellow man. I think that can be said about all of you who wear the uniform of a firefighter. Kevin Towns, he loved people. He was known as a gentle giant. And David Smith, they said his big blue eyes were captivating. People will never forget him. I say this only so you know we will never forget them either. We will not forget them because their names are on this wall for eternity. And you should know that. On behalf of a grateful governor and a grateful state of New York, we do not take that service for granted. Today we celebrate it and we honor it and we thank you. The families who are hurting today, who are suffering today, know that we love all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Hochul. Representing the Honorable John Flanagan, New York State Senate, the Honorable Senator Susan Serino will now come to the podium to deliver a message from the New York State Senate.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored and humbled to be here today and speak in memory of these courageous firefighters who made the ultimate sacrifice to the communities of New York State. This morning, we will add 8 names as a permanent symbol of the bravery and heroism of those who lost their lives trying to save others. For myself and my constituents in Poughkeepsie, this memorial pays tribute to one of our own. Timothy Gunther, Tim, was a dedicated and selfless 21-year veteran of the City of Poughkeepsie Fire Department. All who knew Tim, and especially those who had the honor of working with him, knew he was truly exemplary. On a personal note, I went to high school with Tim, so this really hits home. A life taken far too early, doing something that he loved and he believed in, protecting all of us. My deepest thoughts are with his wife, Christine, and his children, Casey and Tess, and the rest of his family. Firefighters risk their lives to protect us and our communities, and they always place the well-being of others before their own. You know, I've talked to many of our local firefighters and talk about the times that you're called away from dinner or events like our Lieutenant Governor spoke of. You pay that sacrifice as well. Thank you. I offer my heartfelt condolences to the families of these brave men and to our everyday heroes from local fire departments across the state that are here with us today. I hope that there is comfort in knowing that this memorial is a permanent reminder of the sacrifices our fallen firefighters made and that they will never be forgotten. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Senator Serino. Now I'd like to invite to the podium the Honorable Todd Kaminsky, representing the Speaker of New York State Assembly, the Honorable Carl Hastie, with a message from the New York State Assembly.
Good morning. Truly honored to be with all of you today. And on behalf of my colleagues in the New York State Assembly and the families I represent on Long Island, I offer the sincerest condolences to the families, friends, and loved ones of our fallen firefighters, as well as the gratitude for those of you who continue to risk your lives to protect our communities. It's such an honor to be here in your midst. But if you take one look at the bravery, nobility, and commitment you show, you realize how every day we take for granted the heroes that you are. I remember after the Lance Armstrong scandal, watching TV show after TV show talk about where are we going to go to find our heroes and role models for our children. For me, the answer was very simple and so frustrating that no one was saying it. Just go down to your local firehouse. You'll find heroes right there in every community. In fact, almost without thought, we rely on you each and every day to keep our homes and our loved ones safe. I served as a prosecutor for 10 years before I took the job of being an assembly person last year. And you see so much selfishness and cruelty in the world. Even with regular people who may have witnessed a crime, very few people want to come forward. Everyone's very concerned about themselves in this world. But this sculpture says it all. This is what you represent, the brotherhood and sisterhood of being there for one another, of never letting your fellow firefighter down. That's the best of who we are as humans, as Americans, and as New Yorkers. That's what you represent. That's why we're so proud to be here with you today and honoring all that you have done and all those who have given so much. You dare to answer the call of duty to serve us all, and you act effectively and bravely in moments of fear that many of us would find unbearable, and you put your lives on the line to keep us safe. You valiant individuals and the husbands, wives, children, and parents that support you are the heroes in my mind and deserve our sincerest gratitude. Unfortunately, we don't always take those opportunities to show our heroes the full measure of our appreciation that they deserve, and that's why we're here today. So to the families, friends, and colleagues of our fallen firefighters, thank you for the sacrifices that you've made and for your unwavering dedication to spreading the hope your loved ones so selflessly gave to our communities. And to the men and women who continue to serve our communities, thank you for carrying on the noble legacy left behind by your fallen brothers and sisters. Because of you, we could sleep soundly. I have the distinct honor of representing Inwood on Long Island, from which Junior Sanford worked and for which he gave so much. To Jackie and Janisha, and to all the family members here today, please know that there is no act here on earth, there is no amount of time, there is nothing that will ever extinguish the courage, bravery, love, and humanity that they gave to us and that they brought into this world. That exists here, and it will always endure. Not only on that wall, yes, importantly on that wall, but what they've given us will live inside of us, in all of us forever, and we can never repay that debt. So thank you so much for that. And while that debt is more than we could possibly repay, it's my hope that for all of us here today, we will be inspired by the infinite courage, compassion, and perseverance shown by those brave souls. And by continuing to fight to protect those who need it most, we can all help create a safer and healthier future for our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman Kaminsky.
Just neglect to say one thing that I think is important. The person whom I replaced in the Assembly, Harvey Wiesenberg, was always a strong supporter of our firefighters, such an important role model for me. And on the first day I was elected, he grabbed me by the arm very strongly and said, "You have to be there for our firefighters." He didn't give me any other instructions about any other thing. And he said, "Please make sure that you're at this memorial every year." Harvey himself has 2 ailing family members who are seriously ill. But Harvey today, who's not even an elected official, made the trip to be here today. And I just want to say that Harvey's an important role model for all of us elected officials to follow, and we're honored to have him today.
Thank you. At this time, I invite the Lieutenant Governor Hochul, Commissioner Melville, and the Deputy State Fire Administrator Paul Martin forward for the presentation of the flags. Our first honoree this morning, Lieutenant Gordon M. Ambulis, New York City Fire Department, Kings County, July 6, 2014. Our next honoree, firefighter Kevin J. Bristol, Peekskill Fire Department, Westchester County, March 3rd, 2014. Our next honoree, firefighter Fred Edwards, Liberty Fire Department, Sullivan County, May 7, 2014. Our next honoree, firefighter Tim Gunther, Poughkeepsie Fire Department, Dutchess County, May 5, 2015. Our next firefighter, firefighter Ross E. Huffer, Wisconsin Fire Department, Suffolk County, February 27, 2014. Our next honoree, firefighter Joseph Sanford Jr., Inwood Fire Department, Nassau County, December 23, 2014. Our next honoree, Captain David E. Smith, Howells Fire Company, Number 1, Orange County, April 11, 2006. next firefighter, Firefighter Kevin E. Towns Sr., Mount Vernon Fire Department, Westchester County, December 8, 2011. Now I'd like to ask, thank you. I'd like to ask Michael McManus, President, New York State Firefighters Association, and Robert N. McConville, President of the Firemen's Association of the State of New York, for the placement of the wreath. The Firefighters' Creed will now be performed by Sassoon.
Thank you, Chief. Reverend clergy, distinguished guests, family, friends, and comrades of our fallen firefighters, we're once again humbled and honored to join you. This will be our 18th year of participation in this most worthy memorial ceremony. This song, as always, is dedicated to the bravest, to those women and men and their families, past, present, and future, firefighters all. There's a war that's being fought with a bomb or rifle shot. There are deadly confrontations every day, where the enemy is fired and the casualties grow higher among those who place themselves in danger's way. It's a warrior breed of men who face the fires and fight again. The screaming sirens sound their battle cry, where the claxons blare the call, and they'll be there to give their all. They lay their lives on the line, do or die. When the terrorists attack, stab our nation in the back, then our firefighters lead the way once more. With their brothers, the police, the volunteers and EMTs, they
there joined to combat this unholy war. With the strength of saving grace, they met the challenge face to face. Even though the stakes had never been so high, they took the job and got it done. Unsung heroes, everyone. They laid their lives on the line, do or die. And when the flames are blazing high against the smoky midnight sky, you will hear their mighty diesels raging by. They proceed at greatest speed. It's the firefighters' creed. They lay their lives on the line, do or die. There's a piper on the hill, in the misty morning chill. You can hear his lonesome bagpipes' mournful drone. Another firefighter died, and his brothers at graveside will see his widow, and their children aren't alone. For every fireman has to know that he could be the next to go. It's just the nature of the beast they can't deny. Every year they add more names to the Brotherhood of Flames. They lay their lives on the line, do or die. And when the flames are blazing high against the smoky midnight sky, you would hear their mighty diesels raging by. Proceed at greatest speed. It's a firefighter's creed. Countless lives have been saved by the bravest of the brave. Years of training, endless drill, dedication, iron will. Village square, city street, they're the ones who take the heat. Hiding stations, strident bell, still they charge straight into hell. They lay their lives on the line, do or die. God bless our firefighters.
Now the benediction will be delivered by Reverend Jane Jagow, Wayne Jagow, Chaplain, Firemen's Association, State of New York.
I'm so very appreciative that on this day, the Lieutenant Governor was with us and shared with us not only in the address, but in an action, really truly what this day is all about. It had to do with a hug. It really did. Sometimes the words just aren't enough. We need to do something in the physical kind of way. And the good part is that hug is something that really sums up what we are and why we are here. Because when you give a hug, you get a hug. And what this day is for us is to say to all of you, we really do care. And this is not an empty gesture at all. We need this moment in time in the fire service. To my left are all the various fire service organizations in New York State. And on this day, we are rededicating and recommitting ourselves to protecting the men and women in fire service. Not just from the danger that's ever present there on a regular basis, but to make sure we're taking care of firefighters' health. That's our focus. And we're here today to seize this opportunity to give a hug. We wish we could envelop all of you in one grand kind of way, but what we will commit ourselves to is making sure that the generations that are yet to come will know what it means to be the servant and caring individual and a part of this proud tradition that is ours. I ask you please to rise. Almighty God, as we prepare to leave this solemn occasion, we bow our heads in reverence and mourning and ask that you would help us to look beyond the sadness of this moment and to see the light and hope of tomorrow. Fill the void in the lives of family and friends of those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community. Give us the knowledge that our brothers and sisters are at peace and have joined those who have gone before them in triumph. Help us to lift our heads high to the heavens where there is glory and a challenge to serve a generation yet to come. Now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord grant you his peace and hold you in his protective arms. Amen.
Now the playing of taps.
Detail, present, arms. Order! Arms!
Honor guard. Retire the colors.
Honor guard! Ulster colors! Right, face! March, march! Order! Arms! Order. Arms.
Thank you. You can have a seat. This time, this concludes our ceremony, but I'd like to wait